Hey there, I'm Gwen, and I'm here to talk to you about how to keep your job fun, enjoyable, and professional. Now, we all know that working at Hollywood is a lot of fun. Hey, it should be. We are working in the entertainment business after all. And part of making it fun is creating an environment where you feel comfortable, safe, and secure, free from discrimination, harassment, or behaviors that are unwelcome or make you feel uncomfortable. To help us create this kind of atmosphere, you need to understand Hollywood Entertainment's policies, as well as the laws on discrimination and harassment in the workplace, so you know exactly where the lines are drawn. To do this, we are going to show you some examples of discrimination and harassment. Sometimes it's not going to be too hard to spot the inappropriate behavior, but other times we're going to show you examples of behavior that is not so obvious. It's these gray areas where people tend to get themselves in trouble, so you need to really be aware of them. But before we get to the examples, let's get familiar with Hollywood's policies and the law. First of all, Hollywood Entertainment strives for diversity in our employment practices. We also want to obey the law. Therefore, we prohibit discrimination or harassment based on race, color, religion, gender, pregnancy, national origin, marital status, age, disability, family relationships, sexual orientation, the reporting of safety and health hazards, and the filing of a workers' compensation claim. Okay, it seems pretty clear when you see it spelled out, but what does all of that mean? Spotting harassment or discrimination can be tough unless you recognize the different types of behavior that can be seen as disrespectful or demeaning to others. These behaviors include verbal harassment, such as suggestive or offensive jokes or comments, stereotypical remarks about a particular class of people, nonverbal harassment, which could be suggestive or offensive pictures or cartoons, excluding someone from the team or refusing to train a person, suggestive looks or offensive gestures, and even physical harassment, which includes unwanted physical contact, such as touching someone or rubbing against them, or even physical assault. These types of behaviors are not only prohibited in the workplace, but in any situation that can affect the workplace, such as social gatherings with coworkers, off-site business meetings, even the parking lot. So now that we know the different types of harassment, let's take a look at some examples of discrimination and harassment in the workplace to see if you can spot the inappropriate behavior and figure out how to handle it.
Hey Liz, what's the matter?
Oh, my neck and shoulders are just killing me. I guess I must have slept kind of funny on them last night.
You know, maybe I can help you with that. How does that feel?
Yeah. Thanks, Tim, but I really don't feel comfortable with you touching me like that.
Okay. I was just trying to help you, but whatever.
Okay, so what happened there? Liz was obviously uncomfortable with Tim rubbing her shoulders like that. But wasn't Tim just trying to be a nice guy? Well, perhaps, but that's not the point. Tim invaded Liz's personal space by touching her in an intimate way without her consent. And in some cultures, this type of touching would be very insulting. Even if Liz had consented, or even asked Tim to rub her shoulders, this sort of intimate touching is just not appropriate in the workplace, even among good friends, because it undermines the professional environment. Liz did the right thing by stopping the behavior immediately and telling Tim how she felt about it. Now let's take a look at a situation that doesn't involve actual physical contact, but can be just as uncomfortable.
Hey, Carly. I heard you wanted to see me. Are you ready to talk about my performance review?
Hey, Mark, come on in. You can go ahead and shut the door. Yes, let's talk about your performance. Have a seat.
So you know I'm still interested in the management position.
Absolutely. I think it would be a great opportunity for you, and I think you could make a great manager in this department. But before we get to that, there's something else I'd like to get out of the way first. What are you doing this Friday night?
Excuse me?
Come on, Mark. We've been working together for a while now, and you know that I've been attracted to you for a while. I mean, I know that you've been hesitant about going out with me, but I just know we could be great together, so why don't we just go out this Friday and find out?
Look, Carly, no offense. I mean, I like you as a boss and a friend, but like I've told you several times before, I don't feel comfortable dating you. I mean, you're my boss.
I see. Okay, I understand. You know, that's fine. Look, about the manager position, I'm not quite ready to make a decision on that just quite yet. I need to look at your recent performance and talk to a few more people before I can decide. Standard procedure, you understand?
Yeah, okay. When should I check back in with you?
I should be able to decide by the end of the week. I just need to see if I can find a manager who's willing to do what it takes.
Ouch. That was awkward. But let's break it down. Carly, the female supervisor, was pretty clear about what she wanted from Mark, a dating relationship. That alone made for an uncomfortable situation. But what made it worse was when she changed her attitude about promoting Mark because he didn't reciprocate her feelings. Now, dating between employees isn't strictly forbidden. In fact, there are many examples of happy relationships and even marriages that grew out of working relationships. But supervisors are prohibited from dating employees that they manage. It's a situation where it becomes difficult to practice fair, objective, and impartial treatment. In this case, Carly was wrong on 2 counts. First, asking out another employee repeatedly, especially after they've said no, can be harassment. Second, Carly insinuated that Mark would not get promoted simply because he refused to date her. Carly tried to use her managerial authority to force Mark to date her, violating our harassment policy as well as the law. So, we've seen some lines crossed already. One involved touching, another involved dating and the abuse of power. But sometimes, even small talk can cross the line.
Ooh, look at the body on her.
Oh, hey Sharon.
Oh, hey, Sharon.
So, speaking of hot bodies, what happened with you and Kelly after the concert last night? I was looking all over for you guys.
Well, you know, we went out and got something to eat, and then we headed back to her place.
Dude, you dog. She looked so fine last night, too. Okay, you went back to her place and...
Well, her roommates were out of town, and I made myself comfortable. Let's just say she made me breakfast this morning.
Dude, no way. You left out the best part. Now tell them what really went down. I mean, I need to know more detail.
Okay. So we started making out on the couch, and then she...
Okay, that was obviously too much information. But what's the big deal? Just a couple of guys making small talk, right? Wrong. Their comments about the movie were already inappropriate, but they didn't stop there. They really crossed the line when they started discussing sexual matters. Sharing information about your personal life with coworkers is okay to a point, as long as you keep it brief and, more importantly, appropriate. Work is no place to be sharing private, personal information, especially when it's of a sexual nature. It's inappropriate and can offend others around you. While Dave and Scott didn't seem to mind, they clearly made Sharon uncomfortable. So not only did they have a discussion that was inappropriate for the workplace, but they were completely insensitive to who might be within earshot. Use your judgment. If you think something might seem a little too personal to talk about at work, it probably is. Keep it to yourself. Now, we've seen examples of physical and verbal harassment, but harassment isn't just about what you say or who you touch.
Hey, I want manager's initials when that comes up.
Hey, Cindy. Hey, Michelle.
Hey.
Hey, Cindy, I've got tickets to a Weezer concert in a couple weeks. It's on a Friday night. Can we schedule it off?
Weezer, huh? Sure, Joe, I think I can schedule around that. Why don't you go write it down on my calendar? It's the one right over my desk.
Thanks.
Wait till he sees my new calendar.
I know. I saw that this morning. Very nice.
Oh, man.
So how'd you like Mr. November?
They seem to be having a good laugh. Well, not all of them. Joe was pretty embarrassed by the whole thing. But what's the big deal, right? A harmless calendar and a good laugh at Joe's expense? Well, it's a little more than that. While Joe was not verbally or physically harassed, his manager made him feel very uncomfortable by hanging up a calendar with inappropriate content. This type of nonverbal harassment can be just as hurtful and disrespectful as verbal and physical harassment. Again, use your judgment. If you think that a poster, calendar, cartoon, or note might be discriminatory, sexually suggestive, or objectionable for other reasons, just don't put it up. The same goes for inappropriate emails, screensavers, or websites. Anything that makes your fellow employees feel uncomfortable has no place at Hollywood Video. Sexually suggestive actions, comments, or materials aren't the only types of behavior that can make your work environment hostile. As you'll see, discrimination also contributes to a hostile work environment.
Thanks for coming in, Walter. I'll be in touch with you soon.
Were you interviewing him for the shift leader position?
Yeah, I hope not. He's ancient.
Does he even know what videos are? I mean, they didn't have them when he was a kid. Did they even have movies back then?
And what about DVDs or video games? There's no way he knows anything about that stuff.
It'd be like working for my grandpa.
Hey, cool it, guys. You are making some huge generalizations about somebody just because of their age. I think you'd be surprised at what he knows. You know, it's not about age. It's about qualifications and attitude.
Estelle was right. Age has nothing to do with it. Whether hiring or promoting, it is illegal to discriminate against a person simply because of their age. But not only is it illegal, it's just plain wrong. We want the best people working at Hollywood Video, regardless of their age. Like Estelle said, it's all about qualifications and attitude. Besides, an older person can bring a wealth of experience and knowledge that we can all benefit from. It's too bad that Chris and Michelle were too caught up in stereotypes to realize that. And speaking of stereotypes, it seems like our friend Chris still has some lessons to learn.
Anyway, it's great to have you on board, Daryl. See you on Wednesday.
Hey, Estelle.
Yeah.
Did you just hire that guy?
Yeah, I just got the go-ahead from the DM. Starts on Wednesday. I think he's going to be great.
No, if you say so. But you know he'll have all his homeboys hanging out here all night. You know, scaring the customers, stealing. And those people will rob you blind if you let them.
Hold up, Chris. I think you need to check your attitude. You're making some pretty racist remarks. You're completely wrong about Daryl. You really should open up your mind a little.
Estelle was right again. Chris had a major attitude problem. His behavior was a prime example of racial discrimination through stereotyping. Just because Daryl was of a certain race, Chris assumed some very negative things about him. While he didn't make any explicit remarks or slurs specific to Daryl's race, Chris's comments and generalizations were clearly discriminatory. Hollywood Video is committed to having a diverse workplace, free from discrimination of any kind. This includes our hiring and promotion practices and our work environment. Discrimination can include comments about a person's race, religion, physical appearance, and even their age. Employees that practice discrimination against their coworkers or potential employees have no place at Hollywood Video and will receive corrective action up to and including termination, depending on the severity of the conduct. Okay, so we've covered some major types of harassment and discrimination here. But what do you do if you think you've been harassed or discriminated against, or if you've witnessed harassment or discrimination in the workplace? If you believe that you have been harassed by an employee, supervisor, or other person, speak up. Report the conduct immediately to your supervisor or your district manager, or call the Employee Relations Hotline at the number you see here. Their number is also listed in your employee handbook and in the store policy manual. We will attempt to keep all complaints as confidential as possible, but please keep in mind that we can't guarantee anonymity. All investigations will be conducted in a manner respectful to all parties involved and will include speaking to the accused and apparent witnesses. If an investigation reveals that a complaint has merit, prompt corrective action will be taken to stop the discrimination or harassment immediately and prevent a recurrence. Hollywood Entertainment has a policy of non-retaliation. This means that if you report inappropriate conduct, you can't be fired, demoted, or otherwise retaliated against for making a complaint. This also means that you can't attempt to retaliate against someone if they make a complaint against you. Like I said before, we want your experience at Hollywood to be comfortable, enjoyable, and fun. Remember, when you get right down to it, it's all about respect. If we all treat our coworkers with the respect and dignity that we expect to be treated with, we'll ensure that our workplace is safe, professional, and fun. Be sure to thoroughly read the discrimination and harassment policy stated in the Hollywood Entertainment Employee Handbook and Hollywood Video Policy Manual. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask your supervisor or call the Employee Relations Hotline. When you call this number, you'll be prompted by a menu to connect you with an employee relations specialist for your state. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your career at Hollywood Video. And when in doubt, just remember, it's all about respect.